Hey guys, Archie back here from for Game 3 commentary. This game's not very great, mind you, so expect this one to be fairly boring. Just let's just say one of us bricks, and yeah. So I decided to go first here, obviously, as I think being first is very important in this matchup. Hitting that higher tempo is very important and whatnot. So I'll go ahead and mold 3. I think Steven also mold 3. So looking pretty good. Anyways, so opening up a deep wood here and opening up a turn 1 Sacred Elf, which is always nice. Always good to open up the Sacred Elf. And we see Steven here hitting a shit brick. Now, in his normal play here, if he has a messenger, messenger would be to play messenger. But since he plays Tama, that tells us that he doesn't have the messenger, which is a very, very bad sign. Hopefully he doesn't hit... hopefully he hits the Killing Stone next turn, or else it's going to be very troublesome for him. As I swing with a Sacred Elf, as I have no use for the mana this turn, as Steven takes 200 since Tama cannot block a 2/3. Now he's going to go ahead and tap another shit brick. Now this is a very bad lineup for him. He doesn't have a Killing Stone at the moment. Still doesn't have a messenger by the looks of it, so he looks like he's going to be playing I believe it's a Shade this turn, and he passes the turn, I believe. Yeah, that's what he's doing. He's playing a Shade using the 2 mana counters on those stones. He's going to go ahead now, pass the turn, and I go ahead and tap, get a Gusting Skies, and pass. A very exciting turn there, as I am a very reactive player. Now, depending on what he gets here, that will really determine my play this turn. He depends on whether or not he gets a Killing Stone. So he doesn't get the Killing Stone again, which means I've got a Fire Summons in my hand, and I don't need to fetch the hook right now. I just need to... I mean, I can fetch the hook, but I can play hook next turn, but I don't really need to. So I could just like wait a turn, and then he has to hold mana for Severings. And that could be a decent play, because then that does hold his turn for like a while. I mean, in the end, it doesn't really matter. I know for a fact he runs Final Battle and I only run 1 hook, so I'm actually going to end up blocking this Tama. So he's going to be, he jokes around about tapping Shade for the Sacred Elf. It's not really valuable play. Now, what I want him to do is waste the Tama, his second Tama, onto the Sacred Elf. And he goes ahead and so now he's thinking, I think he just end up banishing. Yeah, so he goes ahead and wastes two resonators to kill the Sacred Elf, which I'm actually thinking about Dawning at this point. And I think that's a funny play, but in the end, I don't think I end up doing it. So I think Tama ends up dying, and Steven ends up attacking with his Shade as I go down to 3400. Now at the end of his turn, I cast the first spell on my turn, which is a Furious Summon. I'm just going to go ahead and get a hook here. By threatening hook at this point, even though I lost my tempo with the Sacred Elf dying, his next turn is a 4 mana curve, which means he has to hold mana for a Severing Winds to respond to this hook, because I'll be hitting 4 mana on my turn and then 5 mana the turn after. And because he doesn't have a Killing Stone right now, there's no threat at him gaining tempo at all. So yeah, so you can really, next turn he's got 1 mana to work with, so that's okay, that's not bad. So I'm gonna head and tap here, get my 4th stone. I think in the end I do a KMB into a Lumia, Finger off Lumia. I figured just getting more cards would be nice, and I know that he's only got 1 mana to work with, or else I essentially hook him. So I'm gonna go ahead and play the KMB here, get the Lumia. At this point I don't care if he tries to enter. I just want to be able to block that Shade if he tries to attack with it. I also get the card draw, which is nice. Hopefully I don't get the Null Theft off here, but you know, happens if it happens, it happens. So yeah. Anyway, this game I opened two Fire Summon. Actually, in my opening hand I had 2 Fire Summon and 1 KMB, so I was able to kind of just tutor a bunch of shit out. I don't have as many answers as the previous game, but there's a lot of tutors. I'm lucky in this game that Steven kind of bricked, so I'm grateful for that. Ended up 2-1ing him again, so it was just nice. Sorry, Steven. So yeah, so I go ahead, pull. So Steven is I think deciding on a before recovery play here, and I believe he is going to be dark purging the Lumia, which immediately makes me think that he's probably just going to tap Shade, right? Like endlessly 4 mana open to finish it off. Now I have a Severin in my hand, and I can cancel whatever his second spell is, and I'll quote. So the play I thought he was going to do was Shade, and I'm going to quote a line that Steven is saying right now: "This is the worst play in the history of plays." He then casts Final Battle for X equals 2. Now he's thinking about it, and I think he says it right now. And I agree with him. It was a bad play. Like I think the fatigue has got to us, or got to him more than me. And this is like very, very long day tournament play, and I think the fatigue has got to him, and he ends up actually doing X equals 2. He actually only needed X equals 1, but he pays 2 anyways. So yeah, so this is him saying it now. This is the worst plays in the history of plays, and I end up just severing it. So he ends up paying, I believe, 200 life to do X equals 1, which is pretty funny. So yeah, I agree with him 100%. Worst play in history plays. So I mean, all that did was I lost 3 cards. So yeah. Anyways, as I said, I think the fatigue has got to Steven here. That's okay, as I go to draw, and I know I'm going to be landing a hook here. I do have a feeling he has another Final Battle. I mean, he wouldn't waste 2 Final Battles. I think he was really dead drawing with the Final Battles at this point. He probably opened like quite a few Final Battles, and he ended up just like going, well, I might as well get rid of him. And now I put the Killing Stone back, 2 stones back, so now he can't flip for another 2 stones. And my next turn is I'm just planning on flipping with Fiery Summon until Nylathep. Yep. So yeah, so this is pretty much game at this point. There's no coming back from here. I mean, he's gonna Final Battle for X equals, I believe, 10 to kill the hook, just so I don't flicker it and cause mayhem with it. I figured at this point there's no reason for me not to. He's just gonna go ahead and yeah, I think this is what he's gonna do. Yeah, he's definitely just Final Battling here. Yep. He's just gonna pay 2 with mana. He goes and pays 1600 life to make it X equals 10, and now he's going down to, I believe, 2000 life. Big old Steven. Alrighty, so now this turn is I've got a Fire Summon in my hand, so from my opening hand I'm just gonna go ahead and cast a Fire Summon. I needed to keep that red, so to Judgment, so let's go ahead and cast Fire Summon, get the Nylathep, flip, and essentially just win with the ruler at this point. I'm just getting the Nylathep just because I can, just in case he does have a way to kill the ruler. That way if it does die, I can just do it again. So yeah, with it, because Nylathep gives me Imperishable and Lifelink, which is always nice. So going ahead and Judgment for 3. I'm going ahead and swing at this point, flickering the Shade and gaining 1,000 life as well as dealing 1,000. So Steven is going to 1,000 life within killing range of the Lumia. Of course, he can just tap Shade next turn and gain 600 life. He'll be out of range, but I think at this point, Steven just stops, looks at his hand, and just scoops at this point. Yeah. So this is how this is the finals. I know this is game 3 wasn't as great, but I honestly think fatigue was a major factor. All our games went really long. I'm a control player, and I was playing on slow deck, and my games were going really long. Steven's games were playing pretty long as well. So in the end, I think and we didn't have a break between Top Cut and what's it called, Swiss rounds. So yeah. Anyways. Surprise, surprise, I end up winning this match. Hopefully to see you guys next week at the Ipswich King of Rulers event, as well as the Kalanga, Good Games Kalanga King of Rulers event. I will be there attending both of those. Hopefully making a decent showing there. Probably be playing a similar list to the Lumia here at Ipswich, so we'll see. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Quickcast YouTube page. Come like the Quickcast Facebook page, and see you next time. Bye.